But speaking to those experiences, in terms of weekends and things like that, how much were you studying throughout the HSC on a weekend? If you can remember like exactly your blocks of study or sport, like run us through an example of an actual weekend for you.
Yeah, so I think before I got to exams, and if it wasn't really during an assessment period, it would kind of be Saturday morning would be sport or like hanging out, going on a walk kind of thing.
Mhm.
And it would kind of just be ticking off little homework things, like if you had to write an essay or a paragraph for English, and then if you had to do some study for PDHPE, writing responses and things like that. That was kind of the more what I focused on when we didn't have assessment periods. But then when it got to trials in the HSC, it kind of switched, and I'd be like, okay, so Saturday afternoon from 12 till 3, I'm going to designate this to memorizing the PDHB syllabus and writing responses on core 1 or something. And then when it got to kind of our stew back, so after trials or the week before trials, something that really helped me was designating my days as if it was a school day. So be like, okay, so this is period 1. I normally have PDHP during this time. Let's do some PDHP study. Okay, it's recess. Let me take a half an hour break, go on a walk, and then come back. My next period would be chemistry. So I'm going to go study chemistry. So it kind of, instead of in my mind thinking, oh, what do I want to study? Because there's always going to be PDHPE because I love studying it. I had to follow my other schedules because otherwise I would not be studying maths and chemistry and that would not go well.
So that was before the HSC that you were following that typical school timetable?
Yeah, so before trials and before HSC, yeah.
Interesting. So does that mean you were doing like 4 or 5 subjects per day in terms of study? Because I've heard some different approaches here, and some people just do 1 subject per day or 1 to 2. I personally did 2, but it's great to hear other perspectives. And so I've heard this approach before as well, of following the timetable, because it takes away that decision-making fatigue and you just know what you have to do by following the schedule. So huge merits to that. But did you find that it was hard or to kind of like constantly switch between subjects? Did you sometimes reduce the amount of subjects you were doing so you could go a bit deeper into things? What about when you're doing practice papers that may have gone for 2 to 3 hours? Tell us when there were variations, if there were, in that schedule, and what you found to be the most effective strategy for studying on a per day basis before the HSC.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important to think about. I know different schools have different timetables and it's all very interchangeable between schools. With our timetable, sometimes we had double periods. So I said, okay, I have a double period on a Friday afternoon. So that would be about 2 hours of maths or 2 hours of PD or 2 hours of English. So I tried my best in those times to kind of do those lengthier tasks. But definitely, you can't always stick to the same schedule. Like if I'm in a role with maths and I need to do a past paper, if I'm in a role with writing PDHP responses, I'm not just going to flip over to chemistry. So there was a bit of leeway. Like I was, when I was studying, like, okay, like I just need to do an hour more of this and then I'm going to feel like I'm done that subject, or that's kind of, I've ticked off a mental box in my head saying, yeah, I've done enough of that subject today. So as much as I could, I tried to follow the schedule. But yeah, I definitely extended kind of hours on either side and definitely took some longer breaks than probably necessary. But yeah, it was not a fixed schedule, that's for sure.
Great. And in terms of the length that you were studying per day, does that mean you were just doing about 6.5 hours with the 2 breaks of recess and lunch? Or were you studying more in the afternoon or nighttime? Like what was the average amount of study you were personally doing per day? Even if you go look to the most intense part of the preparation beforehand, what were the biggest days?
So I'm definitely more of a nighttime kind of afternoon study. I feel like the morning, it takes my brain a little bit to get working.
Likewise.
But I think in the depth of studying for trials, depths of studying for HSC, I probably did around 6 to 8 hours a day, which sounds insane. But once you do, okay, an hour block, 30-minute break, an hour block, 30-minute break, or even 15-minute break, the time goes past so quick. And something that also helped that me and my friends kind of competed with was the app Forest, if you have heard of it, the way you grow trees for how many hours you've studied and not be on your phone. So if you're on your phone, your tree would die. And so you can see how many trees your friends have planted. Oh my gosh, they've done 6 hours and I've only done 2. So you're like, okay, phone away, grow a tree. Let's try and beat my friend.
Yes, there's like some friendly competition there.
Yeah, definitely. So that helped get you motivated and help with those days that you just want to be in bed.
Yeah, no, that's a good tip. I think having that accountability to a study group is a great idea, and the fact there's applications now that you can actually enforce that on or gamify, then that's even better, and it's going to be easy for you to do that.